My name is Michael Shikatano, and this is Right Here, Right Now, a podcast to inspire the learner inside each of us. In a world that is full of so much information, we will help find and package that information so that you can use it in your lives every day in practical ways. And in each episode, we will remind you of the importance of being present and mindful of your daily thoughts, actions, and interactions. It is truly the most vital step to learning and growth, being mindful and present right here, right now, to take on life's challenges and turn them into life's lessons. So come on this venture with us, a new beginning, a new journey that starts right here, right now. Welcome back, people. I am Michael Shikatano, your host of Right Here, Right Now, the podcast where we link our lessons to being mindful and present. The podcast where learning and growth take us on this journey in life to being better people here, people. And we continue to learn how to be better learners in this series. I hope you joined us last time where we introduced Adam Grant to our audience and how experiencing life through the lens of having more mindfully present moments is truly the only way we can learn. And we are going to learn from one of the experts on learning and thinking and rethinking, Adam Grant, as we continue to dive into his amazing book. And we know from learning comes growth. And as we grow, we witness and experience a true transformation. So in the midst of preparing for this episode, again, in the series here, I came across a quote from Aristotle that says, "The purpose of knowledge is action, not knowledge." And I just wanted to reset us a little bit, and I want you to think about this, right? The purpose of knowledge is action. As you listen right here, right now, and as you approach all aspects of learning and the lessons in our lives, the lessons in this episode, the lessons in a book you pick up, in your mindfully present and acutely aware moments, realize that the translation of lessons into future action, that's where learning and growth culminate. It really takes an honest and courageous reflection on mistakes and contemplation of our flaws that will allow you to look back with an openness so that you can look ahead with a spirit of renewal and change. That's what this is all about. And so today we will, as promised, take a deeper dive into the masterpiece, Think Again, The Power of Knowing What You Don't Know by the insightful thought leader, organizational psychologist, amazing, brilliant human being, Adam Grant. And today's principles that we will outline really lay the foundation of how our minds and hearts will grapple with new information, new thoughts, opposing ideas even. Oh my. And so Adam Grant outlines some incredible concepts that will make us more aware of how we think and how we can get caught up in good and not so good cycles of thinking and learning. And Adam Grant outlines these cycles that we can get caught up in. The first one is the rethinking cycle. That's the good one, people. And the next one that he talks a bit about is the overconfidence cycle. That's the not so good one. It kind of sounds good, but we'll learn why it's not. So the rethinking cycle, and we'll begin with, in this cycle, humility, where we must know and understand there are things we don't know or fully understand. That takes a whole lot of courage and that humility. And if we don't start here, I think a deliberate attempt to be open to the possibility of not knowing, of being wrong even, we're on that path of overconfidence. There's really no looking back even. And I think we can see that there are people that are a bit too sure of themselves can be a little bit dangerous. I know I've gotten caught up in that. And sometimes have felt that I'm a little too sure of myself, and over the last few years really had to slow myself down. And we'll talk a little bit about how difficult this can be, especially because when you're doing that and when you're caught up in that overconfidence cycle, as we'll soon see, you usually don't know that you're caught up in it. We'll get deeper into humility a little bit and how much it is key to learning. So we had humility to start, then comes doubt. And you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? Doubt? How is doubt going to help me? Let's think of it this way, as stopping and being mindful in the moment and asking yourself, what am I missing here? Right? So you have to have a little bit of doubt, slowing yourself down instead of barging in, knowing everything. Slow yourself down and ask, what am I missing here? Ask others, what are we missing here? And that's where being mindfully present helps immensely. And after this question, slowing ourselves down some more, we become curious. And I think a deliberate question again here, what else could it be, right? What else could it be? If you're trying to solve a problem, if you're looking at a different way of doing things, what else could it be? What else could we do? What else? It's being curious. So we had humility first, then doubt, curiosity comes along. What else could be next? How about discovery? And sometimes the new insight or the ideas, they come so naturally when you're really embedded in this cycle of rethinking. And it can be magical, even this discovery, when we're more open more of the time. And it is really difficult to get into this cycle of rethinking. All of this new stuff is difficult, and there must be some very deliberate and uncomfortable slowing down. The mindfully present stuff here, people. But you'll soon gain some momentum. And I find that although it's something that I continue to be challenged with every day, the slowing down and the thinking about the rethinking cycle helps. You'll gain some traction here and a propulsion forward on your journey to learning and growth. And it's going to get easier and it's going to get more powerful. And I think you're really going to start seeing results. But let's talk about the enemy here. Let's talk about the difficult part of breaking out of what some of us may be in or what we've seen other people caught up in. I know myself admitting right here, right now, that I've been caught up in. And that Adam Grant points out, it's our cycle of overconfidence, right? Where we believe we are all-knowing, even in realms where we have little to no experience. We believe sometimes, maybe too often, that we can translate our experience and our knowledge from one domain to another and have similar levels of experience, expertise, and knowledge. It's not really how it works in most situations. Stop right there, right? It's a danger zone we are entering, a danger zone that I know I have entered, and those not aware of the dangers that lurk ahead is really scary stuff. We forge ahead thinking we've got it all under control, that we know everything we need to know. That overconfidence cycle starts with pride. Having too much of it to admit we may not know everything here. Soon after that, and maybe even in conjunction with it, this pride, it's reinforced with the conviction we hold. Phase 2 of this overconfidence cycle, that holding on to what we think we know. The sense of comfort here, comfort in the familiar. We'll get a little scientific as we move along in this cycle, as the biases of confirmation and desirability, so confirmation bias and desirability bias, they play out next here. These are the confirmation biases. We see what we expect to see, and the desirability bias is we see what we want to see here. And there's so many examples or instances of this where our minds fill in the blanks when it comes to various situations, right? Where we just see things. We almost, because we are expecting to see it, that mind going and churning, again, confident in what we know and not slowing down, really is, I love how Adam describes these biases as weapons against the truth. I'll add to that a little bit. Humbly, I'll add to that they are weapons against seeing the truth. It's always there, people. We must open our minds to seeing the truth, seeing the facts, and being open to the facts actually changing over time. And if we see what we expect to see in our comfort zone of conviction with so much pride, the next logical step to complete this overconfidence cycle is validation. We assure ourselves that what we know is accurate and that there is nothing here that we need to investigate further on. And so the cycle continues with more confidence than even before. Vicious cycle. And this level of certainty closes the door to anything new. And Adam, he brilliantly discusses something that I first heard when he was on the Jay Shetty podcast episode On Purpose. And he discussed the research and the theory on the Dunning-Kruger effect, where essentially this theory demonstrates that a person's confidence climbs faster than competence with just a little experience. I'll repeat that. So the theory points out that a person's confidence climbs faster than their competence with just a little experience. We have seen some of this, and it may culminate in the ultimate all-knowing masters of consistently knowing so much about the same things in their comfort zone. And this is when it turns to arrogance. And Adam postulates that arrogance is ignorance plus conviction, right? Being so blind to what we do not know and cemented in the absolute sureness of what we do know or what we think we know. Dangerous territory again here, people. And maybe I was blind, and maybe I was blindly heading down this path of overconfidence. And maybe this is why I proclaim that this book, Adam Grant's Think Again, changed my life in terms of how I should be thinking and learning every day. And maybe this is why I read Adam's masterpiece twice. Notice the question marks here, people. Whoops, this one had an exclamation point, I think. And maybe listening today slows you down on your path of overconfidence. And maybe we get real curious about the thinking cycle today. So now I embrace Adam's theory of learning and rethinking in so many things that I do. If you've been around me over the last year and a half or so, you probably have heard me even quote Adam Grant or suggest somebody pick the book up. And it's something that I think that every podcast episode I listen to has something to offer me. Every book I read, the timing and the information, they come together from some amazing lessons. Every conversation I have, I'm looking to rethink what I believe, what I know. Every quote even, right? Check this one out. We crave explanations for most everything, but innovation and progress happen when we allow ourselves to embrace uncertainty. And that one was from Simon Sinek. I love him. We will definitely talk a bit about his books that I've read, right? But this quote, innovation and progress do not happen if we are fixed on the current state of affairs, the current facts, the current beliefs, and the conviction of what we are doing now is working and always has worked. So why change, right? I'm sure you've heard that. This uncertainty here, though, that he talks about, embracing it even, it's scary stuff. And some of my thoughts that I'll add here to some of the amazing work, of course, these thoughts sparked by Adam's great work in the exciting field of learning. And what I believe is one of the barriers to looking at new information with an open mind and open heart is when we suffer from knower's syndrome, this knower's syndrome, the obsession with being the knower, an eagerness, an over-eagerness even to be right, attaching your identity to being right, being the one who knows, being the all-knower. I mentioned a little bit here. Let's talk a bit about the open mind, open heart aspect. I sometimes get weird looks or sneers when people hear me say this, open mind and open heart. Here is what this thought really means to me when I use it in the context of learning. And my reference to this concept is almost always related to the learning process. The open mind is the easier one to understand, right? It tends to be, for me at least. When we have an open mind, we tend to be more accepting of intellectual information or ideas or insights. However, when we talk about people not wanting to let go of their deeply held beliefs, their past beliefs, when we are looking for the capacity for someone to unlearn information, the greatest barrier may be the emotional piece or the passionate manner in which we hold on to what we believe we know in our minds and in our hearts for so long. And this is where I think that an open heart is required. Without an open heart, our minds may not be as capacious as we need for true learning and growth. Through the process and practice of unlearning, we get some space in our minds. So I'd like to postulate this thought, that the mind helps us to learn, right? That makes sense, accepting new information. And it's the heart, though, that helps us to unlearn, letting go of long-held beliefs, right? That passionate conviction that we have, there's emotion there. Think about it. Think of the last time you had a disagreement, an argument even with someone. Emotions come out. It's because you're holding on to beliefs that you've had for a long time, and a lot of people hold on pretty vigorously. And it's something I can't stop thinking about, and I have been rethinking about it as well. And maybe the concept here is that the unlearning is mostly made pretty difficult because we attach those emotions to the long-held views and beliefs, whether or not they are based on current knowledge. A connection to the old information, really, here, right? A connection that is not easy to break. And the open heart allows us the room and the space to let go. And here's how I would describe, we'll talk a little bit more about the knower's syndrome here, an individual, their attitude and manner when they suffer from this syndrome, right? It's a closed-minded and a closed-hearted approach to nearly every aspect of life. And the unintended and even unknowing missing out on lessons that would otherwise be less challenging to learn if one had been open to those lessons. And the knower's syndrome is tragic in that the knower, the all-knowing person, does not know what he does not know, and certainly does not know what he is missing in the lessons that keep popping up in his life. Daily lessons. We all know these all-knowers. And after this, you may notice them more often. However, continue to proceed with caution. This level of awareness may stir up emotions in you when you begin to see how people so passionately hang on to past thoughts and ideas that no longer serve them or those around them. And in case you need help spotting these individuals, or in case you need help spotting these tendencies in yourself, these people are not inclined to ask questions. They are all too often presumptuous, yet they frequently demonstrate a lower level of competence, which is okay with a learner's mindset, not okay with the all-knowing mindset if you have a lower level of competence. And the deficit of competency is sometimes masked by the overabundance of confidence. Remember that overconfidence cycle. It's the exact opposite of, you've heard of this imposter syndrome. The imposters, they suffer from a syndrome of feeling less than adequate in knowledge, expertise, or experience, never feeling like they know enough. And the cautious and leery person that navigates life with a little extra doubt in their capabilities, not so bad. That can hang you up a bit, A nice balance is important, but a mostly healthy dose of doubt, a level of doubt that Adam Grant tells us may motivate us to work harder, smarter, and become better learners. Remember, the rethinking cycle starts with humility, goes right into doubt, a healthy dose of it, very important. And the knower is driven by proving others wrong. And the imposter, the one who doubts themselves a bit, they feel like they must always be improving themselves because they feel like they're not living up to their full capacity, their full potential. Who do you think you want to emulate? Let's try a quick exercise in self-reflection, a dive into your self-awareness even here. I want you to stop and think about something right here, right now. Is there any possible way that I am suffering from knower's syndrome? And if you answered this question no, here's one way you can try to prove that you're not suffering from this ailment. Ask yourself, what have I been wrong about in the last 1 or 2 days? If it takes you more than about a minute to come up with a possible answer or thought for this, you may be suffering from knower's syndrome, or you have some symptoms of knower's syndrome. But that's okay. Don't panic. You are listening right here, right now, and you will be more mindfully aware of these symptoms of this disorder. Right? We already learned about the good cycle we can help foster and the not so good cycle we can learn to break. It's all about improving ourselves and asking questions and being aware of what we may learn in each of life's moments. And I'm truly fascinated by the conviction seen in the eyes and hearts of these knowers, believing that the vastly held knowledge they possess will continue to serve them well day after day, and one day even save the day for them. And when this feature of other human beings became apparent in March of 2020, I was astonished by how sure people were of themselves, continually convincing themselves and others how right they were and how they had everything under control. Again, taking old information and old knowledge and projecting it into a never before seen world that we had been thrust into. And reflecting back on some of these moments is when I began to really notice that maybe a better way was not necessarily making everything about being right or wrong. We must come together somehow to develop our knowledge together, leading with humility in a much less black and white world of right versus wrong, good versus bad, this versus that. We must truly try to let go of the dichotomous notion that this world wants to engender, that this world wants us to live in this one way or the other approach to many experiences and interactions. This is a transactional approach, right? A this for that approach to life and our experiences, but maybe a better way is an interrelational approach here, that we have a relationship with another human being, no matter how short or fleeting, a relationship even to the beliefs or knowledge or information that we're confronted with, that we're embracing. And if we have the mindset of coming together, if we have the mindset of being a learner in discussing an issue or trying to resolve a dispute or coming up with a better way of doing things, coming together to be helpful to each other, to not necessarily agree on everything, and certainly not at all agreeing to disagree either here. And that is one of Adam Grant's pet peeves. You would learn if you read the book here. And I'll tell you, it will begin to irritate you more and more if you ever hear people say, let's just agree to disagree after you read this book. But we can come together with that open mind and open heart, and we should expect, even yearn, to learn something from each other, and maybe even unlearn something too, right? Let go. We may be better equipped to connect with another person, embracing similarities, learning from differences, maybe unlearning from some of those differences, rather than having this transactional approach where I give you all of my information or opinions or biases or whatever, and then you give me all of yours, and we walk away maybe quite emotional, thinking that the other person hardly heard what I had to say because they were clutching so tightly to their own view and opinion. And I'm pretty sure that we've been in that situation. Maybe we were the ones clutching too tightly. And so, what if our path to knowledge and learning and rethinking and our journey to new information is similar to the path to happiness, right? I'm sure some of you have learned over time, and our experiences teach us that happiness is not quite a destination. It's not the ultimate end game. It's not a place that you arrive at. It's the journey. It's the journey that makes us happy or experiencing happy and joyful moments of our lives, mindfully present and aware and connected, of course, that allows us to experience the joy all along the way, all along the path. What if learning is the same thing? If we have a change in our mindset that we have held on to for many years, maybe learning is similar to this. Maybe it's more about the journey of learning. And the facts or the information or the knowledge is not the destination. We can't think of that, right? Because these will change all the time. If we embrace this mindset, maybe we can be better learners, going from experience to experience, moment to moment, in search of a better way for now, in search for the deeper insight for now, the grander idea for now, the novel approach for now, the new fact that turns your world upside down, if only you are open to it. If your open heart allows you to let go of the emotional connections to the idea, and if your open mind allows you to embrace the new information with the curiosity of a student, always be students here. And we know Adam Grant shows us the way that we're capable of this mindset shift by shifting how we look at our world. And we know that being mindfully present in this ever-changing world is crucial to better awareness and improved focus. We can do this, people. You can do this, people. Right here, right now. Thank you all for listening. Please like and share these episodes on your social accounts and continue to check out our website. I am so glad that we continue to learn and grow together and rethink our world, our ever-changing world together. Stay tuned for another incredible review of more of Adam Grant's Think Again next time on Right Here, Right Now. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time, right here, right now.